Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about Tampa Bay Buccaneers undrafted free agent safety, Shilo Sanders, and what to expect from the young man. What does he bring to the table as a developmental safety? Could he make the Bucs 53-man roster? These are some things I want to talk about in this video today. So it's important to note that Shiloh was not drafted. He was an undrafted player, was one of the first guys reported to join the Bucs after the draft. So that's notable in my opinion. Okay. He comes in at 6 feet tall, 196 pounds. Here are the strengths to Shilo Sanders' game, according to Lance Zierlein. Able to transition his hips with adequate fluidity. That's very good. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You want to have good hips whenever you are a defensive back. Patrols the hashes and strikes receivers with good thump. The man can hit like a freight train. A lot of you guys pointed that out to me in the comments section whenever Shilo Sanders did sign with the Bucs. Cool. I always like a hard-hitting safety, man. Even in today's NFL, when it's a little bit more difficult to get those types of guys, it still is a fun thing to watch. Displays adequate eye balance between passer and target. Loose lowers allow for change of direction and pursuit as a tackler. Plays with good field awareness as a down safety. So it seems like there's a lot of good aspects to Shiloh's game. He's got good awareness, he's got good eyes, he's got good fluidity, athleticism, and hips, everything that you want to see in a strong defensive back. The weaknesses were leggy open field movements, lacks suddenness, lacking the instincts and range to play high safety. Okay, so maybe more of a in-the-box type of safety. Burst to throw is average, okay, below average reactive agility as an open field tackler. So again, I think that a lot of this plays more into reactiveness for Shiloh. Had major issues with angles to runners against Kansas State. Well, that's one game, okay? But it does seem like Shiloh needs to work more on his reactiveness at the NFL level. And I think that that is a very manageable thing to work on for Shilo Sanders' game. Okay, so we've talked about the strengths, we've talked about the negatives. He is 25 years old, was an older prospect coming out of the NFL draft, which is notable as well. But what kind of situation does he find himself in? Well, let's take a look at the Buccaneers safety room. You've got Marcus Banks, Christian Izien, Kayvon Merriweather, Tyke Smith, who is listed as safety, who is expected to play more safety going forward, according to head coach Todd Bowles, Antoine Winfield Jr., and Rashad Wisdom. Now you have Shilo Sanders joining that list. In my opinion, there is room here to have a guy like Sanders on your roster. Let's say the Buccaneers carry 5 safeties, okay? Christian Izien is likely going to be one. I think that Antoine Winfield Jr. and Tyke Smith are going to be 2 safeties as well. And let's throw Kayvon Merriweather in there as your 4th safety, okay? That would put Shilo Sanders against guys like Rashad Wisdom and Marcus Banks, who I like both those guys a lot, and I don't want to take away from them. But Sanders would have a very legitimate chance. It's like what I talked about in my Desmond Watson video. There is room there to have Sanders legitimately come in and compete and genuinely give a push for a 53-man roster spot if the Bucs do decide to carry, let's say, 5 safeties on their roster. You could see Christian Izien, Kayvon Merriweather, Tyke Smith, Antoine Winfield Jr., and a Shilo Sanders as your 5 safeties, and I think that that would be a very acceptable safety room going forward to the upcoming regular season. I do want to mention this as well. I think that Shilo Sanders had a benefit that Shedeur Sanders did not, comparing the 2 Sanders brothers. What is that benefit? Well, Shedeur Sanders played quarterback at Colorado, okay? That means that he had to grow and learn the offensive side of the ball, and that is something that he was able to go and learn and do, but his father, Deion Sanders, never played quarterback, right? He can't necessarily lean on his father's experience, I'm talking about Shedeur Sanders here, as a learning tool. Okay, now I'm sure Deion did help in ways in terms of helping Shedeur develop at quarterback, but it's way more beneficial and meaningful development, I think, for Shiloh to learn from a guy, a legend like Deion Sanders, right? One of the best defensive backs in NFL history, right? That is the type of guy that Shiloh was able to learn from his own father, 6'1", 198 pounds, built basically the same freaking guy, right? So learning from Deion had to have been instrumental for Shiloh. And I'm not even just talking about the collegiate level. I'm talking about the high school level. And even before that, the connections that Dion has, the personal experience that Dion has, all these different types of things can only help Shiloh, right? And I think help him more than what his brother got in terms of training. Because Shiloh chose to be a defensive back, he was able to lean so much more on Dion's experience and his expertise of being a former legendary defensive back himself. And I do believe that does matter. I mean, it's funny. I've seen videos of like Antonio Brown back in the day going up against Shiloh Sanders. Are you kidding me? Imagine the learning lesson there. That's been happening for years for Shiloh, where he has been learning and matching up against some of the greats of this modern era, right? So, yes, that matters 100%. He's already developed in a lot of different ways of going up against NFL caliber wide receivers. That not only gives him a leg up on the development of him versus his brother, but also some of these other guys that he's going to be battling with for a roster spot. He's gone time and time and time again up against NFL caliber wide receivers, which is why I genuinely do believe, yes, he has a legitimate chance to make this Bucs 53-man roster. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't pulling for the guy. I am pulling for the guy. I want to see Shiloh Sanders go out there and succeed. I think a lot of people have kind of overlooked Shiloh as like maybe the forgotten brother in a way. I feel like a lot of focus has been on Dion and Shador, and not a lot of people have been talking about Shiloh. I know the dude's got a crazy social media following, by the way, and there was a lot of hype about Shiloh, right? But I think that there is a genuine conversation. I know a lot of you guys joked about it in the comments section, but hear me out. Like, is it crazy to think that Shiloh has a better potential for success than Shador? I don't know, man. I don't think it's crazy to say that. I think that he has about just as much of a chance as Shador. Now, Shador was obviously drafted, Shiloh wasn't, but I mean, it matters, man. It matters the situation you go into. Shador went to the Cleveland Browns. Shiloh went to the Bucs. He learned from his father. He's going to learn from Todd Bowles, who I've said multiple times specializes in developing safeties and defensive backs, and has had good success with the Bucs in the past. He's going to be learning from Antoine Winfield Jr. and Christian Izien and Tyke Smith. Like, these are good dudes to learn from at the coaching level, at the player level, even as the mentor level and his father. Like, there's a lot going in Shiloh's momentum, I guess, a lot going in Shiloh's way, let's say. And it is not crazy to me to say that, like, yeah, Shiloh could legitimately push for a 53-man roster spot and maybe carve some type of niche for himself going forward as a developmental guy. We'll see. But what do you guys think about Shiloh Sanders? Let me know your thoughts and opinions about it down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. And as always, guys, I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.